By the end of this episode, you're going to know 5 reasons why you're not behind financially and how you're actually richer than you first thought. Okay, so we've gone through the title of the episode and the thumbnail, but how are we going to explain these points to you? Well, by the end of this video, you're going to know 5 reasons why you're not behind financially and how you're richer than you think. But before we get on to that, who am I to tell you any of this information? Well, first of all, my name's Future Investments. If you're new to the channel, all I do is talk about investment content here. It's a passion of mine, and I've been investing since 2020, and I've been creating investment content for nearly 3 years. What's my experience? Well, I've invested in commodities such as gold and silver bullion, precious metals, index funds like the S&P 500, the FTSE 100, and property. I've also worked in the corporate side of employment and self-employed. So I've got a bit of a mix of experience across the board when it comes to life experience and investing. But I will start by saying I'm not a financial advisor, and this is only my opinion and my advice. So take this with a pinch of salt and make your own investment decisions wisely. Okay, so in no particular order, starting with reason 1. For me, a sign that you're comparing yourself will hinder your own opinion on your own investment journey. Comparing yourself, well, it's easily done, isn't it? With social media, everything is pumped in our face every day. In our social circle with people that we know, what they've got, where they're going. And it's easy to start comparing yourself with others around you. They do say that comparison is the thief of joy. But in my experience, there are 2 types of comparison. Positive comparison and negative comparison. Let's start with the negative comparison. For me, it's easy to get caught up in your social circle because at the end of the day, we tend to compare ourselves with those in our closest circle. We don't compare ourselves with people we don't know. Now, with social media, you often see a friend or someone you know of or you know well enough to think about. They're buying a new car, they're going on holiday, they've got this fancy new watch, and that can sometimes lead you to feel like you're not achieving enough, you're behind. But a matter of fact is, that's not the case because you don't know what their financial circumstances are. They may be putting on debt, finance, and it all may be on credit. However, there is positive comparison in my opinion. I tend to use this as a method of motivation. It drives me to make that extra step forward. And it comes back to networking and your social setting. When I surround myself with like-minded people and people who have been and achieved more than myself, I use that as motivation. It gives me that drive. If they can achieve it, I can achieve it. We're all the same. So there is definitely 2 types of comparison, good comparison and bad comparison. But for sure, be careful not to fall into the latter because you don't want to have that envious side of comparison. Reason number 2, your debt is good debt and their debt is bad debt. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the chances are you're watching this episode, so you're conscious about your financial situation. Maybe you're a seasoned investor, maybe you're trying to change your lifestyle and your financial situation. The point of the matter is you've started here or you've already been doing it. And the chances are that your debt is good debt and their debt is bad debt. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, there of course are all sorts of bad debt. You can finance a car, pay monthly fees on that with a balloon payment at the end, and it's going to lose out and devalue. Or you can get good debt. You can buy a mortgage. Yes, technically a mortgage by definition is a liability because it takes money out of your pocket and it doesn't put money into your pocket. But you can for sure still have another form of good debt, which could be an investment property, which would create a semi-passive income, possibly even a passive income if you're really successful and you have enough money to employ someone to look after those properties for you. So don't get too caught up in the social side of things, saying what people have got and what you haven't got, because the chances are they're using bad debt and you are using good debt. Reason number 3, does your spending make you happy? My spending reflects what matters to me, what makes me happy. For me personally, I like to pay my bills, invest in my investment vehicles, whether it's the S&P 500, the FTSE 100, precious metals, or property. And I also leave a budget for myself to enjoy. Now that budget could of course be much, much higher, but I limit myself to a certain amount per month within my own financial ability and scale that allows me to have a pretty enjoyable life, not audacious, not flamboyant. Of course I would love more in life, but that's throughout the long-term plan. But what's important is not to get caught up in what others are doing, but what you're doing. Does your spending make you happy? Does it reflect what matters to you? Are you buying to impress others, or are you buying to impress yourself? Because that's two big reasons you should think about. Which one are you doing? Number 4, the truth, the trade-offs. Listen, I've achieved a fair amount in my life. I've invested in the S&P 500. I love that S&P 500. On average, over the last 100 years, it's had an average of a 10% average annual return. But of course, I've had to make sacrifices, for sure. I've had to sacrifice going out, spending money on things I want, to be able to allow me to invest for that long-term game plan, to allow the compound effect to take place, to allow myself to invest on a dollar cost averaging basis, to allow those interests to build up and accumulate, to allow those dividends to come back to me. But what people don't see is they only see the superficial, but they haven't seen the sacrifices that you've had to make, the trade-offs. And that's the truth about investing and becoming financially successful. You do have to make some sacrifices. I could live a much more flamboyant lifestyle, go out and buy a nicer car, or go on holidays more, but that wouldn't allow me to build the financial wealth that I want for my future. So there are trade-offs, and that can leave you feeling like you're behind, because when you hear about your friends and family are going to Japan or America, or they're buying this, they're buying that, it makes you feel like, why am I doing this? Shouldn't I live in the now and enjoy life? And absolutely you should. There's moderation to everything. And I think that you should still enjoy life. Hence why you should set yourself a budget so you don't feel guilty spending money on things. Because after all, the truth of the matter is, there are trade-offs when it comes to becoming financially successful and investing. You have to sacrifice. We're not all born with millions and millions of pounds in our family inheritance. That's the sad truth of it. So bear in mind that yes, right now you may be sacrificing some things to achieve financial greatness in the long term. But if you really want it, you really believe in it, then it's worth it. The trade-off is worth it. So that is 5 reasons why you may feel like sometimes you're more financially behind than others, and maybe that you're not as rich as you think. But let me say this, it's all superficial what you see on social media, and what it matters is what you're doing. Now, something to add to that, to bolster these facts, is that 38% of people in the United Kingdom have credit card debt. 44% in the United States have credit card debt. Now, set aside your ego and your pride, focus on you. Use positive comparison, not negative comparison. And don't look behind, look forward. And don't forget, collaboration is better than competition. You can use others to drive you forward, to give you that motivation, to make you take that next step forward. But don't have envious comparison, negative comparison. Use positive comparison. Look at how somebody is building their brand, connecting, diversifying their income streams, and connect with them. Collaboration is far better than competition. But you must set aside your ego and your pride and focus on you. Don't look behind, look forward. And finally, most importantly, do what makes you happy. Whether you can invest £1 a month or 1 million, that's fantastic. You're making a step in the right direction. But the most important thing is that you're happy. Because at the end of the day, if you have health, you have wealth, and everything else is a bonus. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this content. I really enjoy making this motivational mindset, also financial side of content. Please let me know in the comment section if you are enjoying this more mindset based content in the comment section below, because it allows me to keep making the content that you want to see. If you also want to see more exclusive behind the scenes content and for the chance to win awesome prizes every single month, become a channel member. You can join by clicking the link in the description below, where you can become a premium future investor. You get exclusive behind the scenes content, and you get automatically entered into awesome prize giveaways every single month. It's a really fun place to be, and I'm growing it day by day, and I feel like the current members are enjoying it as well. So for sure, click the link, have a look and see what you think. But until next time, I look forward to seeing you all in the very next episode. Thank you for your valuable time. Thank you for watching and commenting. And until then, I'll see you in the very next episode. Bye-bye.